somewhere along the line, we've got to unite. We've got to come together as creative people. It doesn't matter what place of business you work for. We're all creative people. We've got to get beyond this COVID-19 lockdown. Mentally and physically, we're still there, even though the world is opening up. But we don't feel like it. We don't see the potential of there being a greater day because we keep getting locked down with uncertainty. Unplugged because we will always say yes to creativity. Totally uncut because we all make mistakes. So turn it into a tool. This is Arroe Unplugged. Allowing the spirit of the forest inside your pattern of thought. The sunlight shines through the spring green leaves, creating shadows in the places building peace. You see, it's that energy that loosens up the cluster of mental weight, bogging down your natural process to think. The falcon soars high over the Carolina sky, gliding with the upper levels of wind, diving in the air like a roller coaster. Its shrieking voice instantly puts you in a place of solitude. The dove we saw this morning just sat there staring at us as we strolled beside the trees. She recognized that we were not there in a way of bringing injury to her, but rather we were part of her nature and all things that were a part of the natural environment. If you place your ear close to this page, you might be able to hear the birds singing this morning. The beauty of it all, and yet it's so difficult to mentally escape. To be present in a circle consumed by daily challenges, being in this forest isn't to be compared. To allow the forest to move through you is a choice. The spirit guides and keepers aren't able to place freely into your giving soul if what you've done is put up a rock, a wall, something that says, no one at all. You've got to be able to colorize it with something other than fear and shame. Breathing in, we start to live again. We're all a bunch of buildings. We see the church as a building rather than a community. On a personal level, we see ourselves as being this thing. We let certain things come inside. We allow only particular things to reach outside. We're buildings. We're walls. We are something other than what we really think that we are. And then when we identify that substance, we begin to question our existence. It's very difficult to find yourself on a map where Waldo can't even be seen. It's hard to see where you are when you don't know who you are. I write not just once daily, I write as often as I can so that I know where I really am. But I don't really see you doing the same thing, and I don't choose to tell you you've got to do this thing because it's personal to me, and what I go through doesn't mean you're going through it. But yet we live in a society that says, do as I say, not as I do. I breathe like that because that's my form of meditation. We're in the same river. The currents, though, are different. 1 minute you're flying, the next minute you're walking. Some days you feel like you're drowning. So what's the difference? That's the choice. That's your decision. And it's a lot of weight on your own back when you are in a place of question. I find it to be quite funny when people say, it's all good. Everything's great. Because that tells me that you have motivated yourself to think otherwise. Because if it's all good and all great, then what's the message here? That we are to set things aside that bring such enormous amounts of weight so that we can all say, hey, let's go this way because we feel better in the moment. For now, I think. Come on now, be honest with yourself. The challenges in the chapters of an everyday world are not based on a love story that you picked up at a grocery store or picked up on Amazon.com. What we need to do is we need to understand who we are as a people, not just who I am, but who we are as a community. We need to learn how to build together as one so that we can see ourselves, not just in this moment of now, but in the eyes of those that shall follow. Now, we may not be there when that moment happens, but the process and the progress of what our decisions are doing today have got to have enough energy to generate the empowerment and the influence to bring something amazingly powerful to those that are still going to be born. We aren't going to stop humanism. We aren't going to change what it is that we have become, but what we're going to do is we're going to remove the walls. Because what we have become doesn't deserve to be trapped. We have to release the protections that we have got inside our mind, body, and soul. I spent 26 years of my radio life fearing every day that I was going to be fired. And then when that moment finally happened after 26 years, I'm going, can I get those 26 years back? No. What are you keeping yourself from by keeping those walls up? That's what I learned from this forest. This forest in South Charlotte, North Carolina. When the sun shines through the green leaves and I'm able to see the color of the shadows upon the ground, that means the energy is moving through that leaf to bring something to the spirit of being. You are no different than that leaf. What are you blocking that needs to be present? Ask yourself that question. Then see yourself through the storm. I'm Arroe. These are not my words. These are the lyrics from Billy's Forest.